So this intersection, you're looking for that angle there. This intersection point is on the inside. This intersection point is on the circle. This is also called an inscribed angle, but for what I'm doing right now, I'm just calling it on. Inside, on, and this is outside the circle. Like if you imagine it, pulling that point out, you would pull it to the circle and then it would go outside the circle. So here's how to remember, how I remember these. Inside or on the circle here, these lines make arcs. There's a little arc here and a big arc there. Now, I mean, they could be the same size, but I'm not getting into that. Then that just means this thing's in the center. But if that thing's not in the center, there is going to be bigs and littles. When you're on there, the only arc we care about is that one. And on the outside, it splits the circle also into a big arc and a little arc. So here are the formulas, the way I teach them in my class. We're going to take big when it's inside, plus little, and divide by 2. Inside is plus. Because plus is inside, that's positive. I tell everybody it's nice and warm because we live in kind of a cold climate. So it's nice and warm on the inside. On is inscribed angle. So here is just your big arc. And we take that times 1/2. And if you're outside, you're going to take big, big, minus little, and divide by 2. These two formulas are the same except for the sign change, and you remember those signs because plus is warm, and you guessed it, minus is cold. I actually think of space. It's cold in space. So take a screenshot of that if you need it, or copy it real quick if you get to use a note sheet. So we are going to do the problems right now. All right, first of all, you match the diagram to the circle thing. It's the inside one, so we're going to use big plus little divided by 2. Okay, so you look for your intercepted arcs for that one. It's going to be, if you're looking for this angle right here, look, I almost went for the wrong one. You are looking for, this is the angle they want. So it's got to go with these arcs, which would have been a big hint because those are the ones they gave me, right? So this is the smaller one. There always will be a smaller one and a bigger one, and that's the bigger one. And so the size of this is going to be big plus little divided by 2. Crunch that out. And you are going to get, you're supposed to get 105, but let me double check it. 130 plus 80, there it is, divided by 2, 105. All right, that's how you do it with numbers. You probably aren't going to see a whole lot of that. You're going to see something more like this, which is a blank piece of paper. No, this one right here. Okay, this is where you get the algebra. And this is where you take something you're not comfortable with, which is geometry, and mesh it with something else you're not comfortable with, which is algebra. But here's to do it the same way. We know it's big plus little divided by 2 equals that. And you don't really know which is big and little, and it doesn't really matter because we're adding them up, but I can see that's the larger arc, b plus l divided by 2. So what I have here is 16, big, 16x plus 8, that's the answer arc, equals 23 x minus 5 plus 66 all over 2. I have not done these problems before. These are brand new to me too, so any mistakes will be totally organic, so watch. I'm going to divide or multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that. So I get 2 times 16x plus 8 equals 23x plus 61. Okay, let's multiply this out. We're going to get 32x plus 16 equals 23x plus 61. I was just double checking. We are going to look for whatever that angle is. VWU. Got to get x and plug it in there. All right. So I like to do all this in one step. Subtract the 23x. And I want a 0 over here, so I'm going to subtract that 61. No, what am I doing? No. I want a number over here. I keep thinking about quadratics. I'm going to subtract the 16. Told you, all mistakes are organic. So 32 minus 23, I think that's 9, but let's just double check because this is my final exam, right? Okay, 9x equals, cancel, 61 minus 16, 45, and divide 45 by 5, that's, or 45 by 9, that's 5. What did I just do? Oh, okay, but it still works. X equals 5. This is why your teachers work problems out ahead of time, right? Okay, so plug the 5 in there, and we're going to get 16 times that 5 plus 8. Right, this 5 goes right here, where x is not wrong if you circled that. But that's not what they wanted. They wanted the angle. So 16 times 5 plus 8. 88. 88. So that angle is 88 degrees. That is the correct answer. Okay. Number 3, different kind of angle. This is the inscribed angle, which you probably have memorized because you usually do those separately from these other circles. But basically the angle is half the size of its intercepted arc. So if they give you the arc, in order to find this angle right here, you're just going to divide that in half. 128 divided in half is 64 degrees. That's the basic concept. Now we do it the way a real test question is probably going to show up, and that would be with algebra. So here's what I know. I know that this thing is twice as big as the angle. So usually splitting in half is the way to go if you know the number, but with algebra, and this is like weird, I wouldn't split that in half. What I would do instead is take the angle down here and take that times 2, and that would still make these equal. And it's a lot easier math to work with than dividing 9 in half and getting 4.5 and all of that. So here we're going to multiply through. We get 10x equals 9x plus 12. Subtract that 9x from 10x. You get 1x equals 12. And they didn't want us to find x. I mean, you got to find x. They want to know what the actual angle is. J, K, L. So the angle the measure of angle JKL equals 5 times 12, which is 60 degrees. Number 5. All right, different kind of setup. Now your intersection point is outside. Outside is cold, which is why you are going to use the formula big and little divided by 2, but you got to use a minus, okay? So let's identify big and little. This is little. And then this is big, and this is all just with numbers right now. And we're still trying to find this angle here. So we're going to, that angle equals big minus little, minus because it's outside, it's cold, divided by 2. Let's crank that. 150, 150 minus 58 divided by 2, and I get 46 degrees. So that little guy there is that. All right, now to do that with algebra. All right. Speaking of cold, this might freeze you up a little. Ha! Dad joke. Don't use funnies. Does math with coffee, because we are stressing. Okay, there's your big angle or arc. Here is your little one. And this is the one that's supposed to be the answer. So this equals this guy minus this guy divided by 2. So let's set that up. Again, just use your formula. I used to tell people just to memorize the big and little. So it's like this. It's big minus little divided by 2 when you are on the outside. So big, 145x. The big one will always be the one that's farthest away, by the way. And we are going to subtract, and here's where people make a mistake. Be super careful. You got to parenthesis that up. That because you're going to have a minus in front of it. So there's going to be a sign change going on. Divided by 2, big minus little divided by 2 equals 33x. The solving is always the same with these. You're going to start by multiplying both sides by 2 to cancel out that little fraction here. So we have 145x. Now, this is what I'm saying, be careful. This negative has got to distribute to each thing that's on the inside. If you want to think of that as a -1 on the outside instead of subtraction, that works to help you not make sign mistakes, and I'm very good at sign mistakes. So I've got -80, and a -1 would be a +1. That's going to be the mistake people will make. They usually get the first one and not the second one. And then 33 doubled is 66. Okay, let's put these together. 145 minus 80. We're getting, whoops, 65. Sorry about that. 65x plus 1 equals 66x. Oh, that just got easy real fast. Subtract 65 from x from both sides. And you end up with x equal to 1, which of course is not what we want. It's just incomplete. We need to get the angle KMR. KMR, this angle, which is going to be so hard to find. 33 times 1. 33 degrees, and that is all of them. Good luck on your exam. I hope this helped. Bye.